So this is how I make my breakfast. You take a pan, put it on a medium-high heat. In my example, that is 4 out of 6, whatever the hell that means. I have my greens here. Then I have my onions, which I like to cut semi-thick. I don't like them too small, I don't like them too big, just like this. Then I got my zucchini. Over here I have my, I don't know what you call them in English, cherry tomatoes. Then the next ingredients, yeah, that's a dirty sink. The next ingredients, we have some mushrooms. Then we have a red bean. I guess any bean will do. Then we have some mozzarella. And I also have this small bit of tofu with black olives. And then to top it all off, I'm also using this mayo with basically I don't know what they call it. It's not with weed. It's like with this shit that they get weed from. So now that we have this pan ready, we're gonna go into our cabinet. I use olive oil, of course. And now we're gonna pour it in. I pour it like this, maybe put it more, doesn't really matter. And now, let's say this is okay, I put this shit in. Now what's important is, it's very important, let me just clean my hands. What's really important is that you have your oil not too hot, because olive oil is not good if it's hot. And the second thing is also not good to have your pan super hot, because then you will just burn the onions. And this pan is like, it's actually pretty shit. It's supposed to be like non-sticking pan, but it's really not. It's still better than a normal pan, but it's not completely as great as it could be. Now, since I have a pretty small kitchen here, you do need to be kind of organized. And having one hand free only is even harder. But basically, all this zucchini that I just cut up, I like to prepare myself up front, because this whole procedure takes a bit. It's like 30 minutes-ish, more or less. But at the end you have a really good, delicious meal, so I think it's worth it. So we cut the zucchinis. We're gonna put zucchinis later in. Now this is sizzling. It's gonna caramelize. And when it does that, it's gonna be nice and a bit transparent. Now you can you can mix this with a ladle like I'm doing. Make sure it's wood, because if it's metal, you're gonna damage the surface area, and you don't want to do that. Now having one hand only is kind of hard, but you can like mix it like this as well. It's gonna work fine. So we got the zucchinis, we got the mushrooms. Now I have no idea where to put this phone, because there's no way I can cut it with one hand only. So let's try to put you... Yeah, this is just not gonna work. Okay. Yeah, let's say this is gonna work, if my phone doesn't fall down. So how do I cut the onions? I mean the mushrooms. I just cut them in half. You can clean them first, but they're already cleaned, so. And like, this is a big piece, so I'm gonna cut it in half again. And then I just like put it on slices like this. Same with this one. I'm gonna put this one like this. I like to mix shit up, you know. Can you even see what I'm doing here? Yeah, it's a pretty shit camera angle. I don't know, like, I'm not really used to doing this kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, basically you can't see shit, man. It's bad. That's why I'm not a cooking channel. Yeah, as you can see, the onion is already turning in color. I should be mixing it more, but I'm really lazy. But at this point I would say it's enough, and I would put in zucchini. We're back. Alright. As you can see, I cut up my mushroom, and as you can hear, this is sizzling pretty nicely. You must not forget to mix this shit. Like I did. The onion burned a little, but that's only because I put such small pieces. The end result should not matter too much. Now if you don't want your onions to burn, you simply reduce the fire, you cook it for longer, and you mix it a lot more often. But I don't really care, as I said, because it just gives that flavor the onions give, like a bit sweet and whatnot. So yeah. Now what I like to do is wait a bit for this zucchini to get a bit of color, and once that happens I just throw everything else in. So we have the onions here. Now if you have some paprika, you may also put this in, or bell pepper as they call it. I think I have some left, but this is pretty rotten, so I'm not gonna use it. Alright, so we got our onions here. Let me just turn the phone like this. Oh, now it's upside down. Alright. And the last ingredient is these cherry tomatoes. I like to use them because they're really sweet. They're a bit more expensive than the normal ones, but I think it's worth it because they are just so good. So now I'm just like picking them from the vine. Basically these cherry tomatoes, I just like to take them, leave them on the vine for as long as you can, because they're gonna stay the freshest that way. And then once you're ready to use them, you just pick them up like this. I just clean them a bit. I mean, it doesn't really matter how much you clean them, because you're gonna cook them anyway, and even if there is bacteria or dirt, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if it's dirt like from the dust or from the mud, of course you clean it, but otherwise, like, it doesn't matter too much, really. Alright, and then how I do this is just I cut it in half. Yeah, it's gonna be a problem with one hand. I'm not even gonna try, I'm just gonna smother it. So I'll just cut this and be right back. Alright, cut the tomatoes, they're here. But now we're gonna mix these veggies a bit. As you can see, the zucchini started to get color, and once that happens, I like to mix it some more. Like this. I lost a bit of onion here. I like to keep my place clear. I mean, the sink is a bit dirty, but like it's clean otherwise, so. Because you want to have a clean kitchen if you're gonna cook, you know. And once your zucchini is starting to get color, now is the time to put in other things. So we put in our mushrooms. There we go, and we put in our tomatoes. Like, people do this differently. I do it like this. And now we still have tofu left. And I just cut this on slices like this. And then I cut it one more time in half. And then I just put this all together and make like a little cubes. Now I didn't put a lot of tofu in, because I already kind of have a lot of things in here, and I'm still gonna add more, so this is really fine. Now we also have mozzarella, as I mentioned before. Like, there's usually a lot of water in, so just like squeeze it in front of the sink, so you don't put too much water into your meal. And mozzarella is kind of expensive, so I don't tend to use it too much, but a little bit goes a long way. So let's say this is okay. We'll put this back in the fridge for later. Alright. And the mozzarella, I'll show you in a bit how I cut it. Let's mix these. And now the best part of cooking any meal, spices. I like to use basically the most simple spices. Salt, basilic, pepper, grinded garlic. I don't know what you call this in English. And then you have sweet paprika. So we add a bit of this. I like to add a lot, so. Then we add pepper. Then we add basilic. Grinded garlic. You may also add whole garlic, but that was loud, I apologize. Now I have salt. It's kind of hard to mix it with one hand, but I'm trying. Yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. We added in the spices, we added the salt and whatnot. I hope you can still hear my voice over the sizzling of the food. I hope it's not too loud. Basically, we just mix this up. Like so far, from the ingredients I added, and I'm also gonna add some greens, and I'm also gonna add beans. This is a complete vegan breakfast, and I think it's awesome because, like, if you're new to whole vegetarian thing or vegan thing, I guess, it's pretty easy to go into it, and this is like a perfect breakfast to do it with, you know. It takes maybe 30 minutes tops, and it's fantastic. Over here, I have my mozzarella, and this is like if you're not eating milk products, so if you're vegan, you're not gonna add it, but I like to add it. Again, I slice it like this, because it adds like some texture, you know, it's like a bit sticky and whatnot, and it's really good. So this is, as you can hear, sizzling very nicely. Now I like to mix this up like this. Maybe add some spatula action in there. Now I like to have this kind of dry because it's gonna add nice burnt flavor, and I like that flavor a lot. So far, from start to finish, I think it's been like 10 minutes, maybe more, maybe less. And I just kind of go by the feeling, you know. As you keep doing this more and more, you kind of get a feeling, oh, veg is done now, now I can add this. But usually add onions, wait like 5 to 10 minutes, depends how burnt or how crystallized you want the onions to be. And then once you've decided how your onions are, you just add other things in. And then again, if you want them a bit more burned or a bit more raw, if you want them more burnt, you wait longer. If you want them more raw, you just don't wait as long. And that's how you get that flavor, that texture. Now the things like tomatoes, which are mostly water, you should always add them like at the end. Otherwise they're just gonna like completely dry up and they won't be as moist anymore. Like I would say leave this on for a few more minutes. Like this. Like this is also a good point where you can stop. And now we add beans. Like why beans? Well, because they're good, they're nutritious, and I like the flavor they add. And the way I add the beans is I use a fork. I mean, it's rocket science, I know. I use fork and I just like put them on like this. I mean, it looks super retarded and awkward, but I'm only using one hand. Like I like a little bit of juice to be here, but not too much, you know, because if you get it too watery, then it's not gonna cook anymore, and it's gonna be like half cooking, or boiling rather, because it's gonna have a lot of water. And it can be really any beans you want. I just picked red because, I don't know, look, I'm trying to, you know, experiment new stuff. So we're gonna put this back in the fridge. This is my fridge. It's kind of stacked. Maybe it doesn't look like it, but it's pretty stacked for my standards. Okay, now we got beans in. We don't really need a lot of time now. And now we just add the final two ingredients, which is mozzarella and greens. Like greens, whatever they are. Just make sure they're like leafy greens. Otherwise you'll just have to wait for them to cook longer. Like this is salad greens, I don't know what you call them in English. And yeah, you just, wow, the green really pops on the camera, that's nice. And you just mix it a bit. This really shouldn't take long. It should just like disappear. And now this is how you pretty much do it. Now mozzarella has a bit higher melting point, so it's gonna take a bit longer to get all stretchy and whatnot. But if you do it like I am, it shouldn't take too long. As you can see, it's already stretching a bit. And you definitely want to do this with your spatula and not like just mixing the pan, because if you just mix it, like, you're not really gonna get the good steer. Alright, let's turn this baby off. Mix it a bit more. Alright, I think this is as good as it's gonna get. Put this on a side like here. Now for the bowl, I like to eat from these small bowls, but I don't know where this one is. Oh yeah, I put the onion in. Or what did I put in? I put something in. Oh yeah, I put mozzarella in. Alright, I'm gonna put mozzarella in here. I'm gonna take this bowl. I kinda got used to eating from these small bowls. I just like the way they, I don't know, just personal preference. Alright, clean this up a bit. I'm using also chopsticks. Again, personal preference, don't know why. Close the oil. And now the final touch you can do is to add something like this. I mean, it says it's mayo, but it's really more. It tastes very interesting. So I just add a bit like this. Apologies for the weird camera angle. There we go. We put this shit back in the fridge. And now we just mix this up a bit. Yeah, my finger in the camera. Alright. If you could smell what I'm smelling. It's so good. Alright. Now we're done. And now what I do, I just take this spoon. And I just put it in like this. I mean, it's really messy with one hand, but yeah, that's pretty much the idea. And this is a perfect meal for, like, I guess this is like for 2 persons. Maybe add a bit more tofu, but like it's ideal for 1. There we go. I mean, the mayo part is really optional, but it's really not a mayo. It's more like some sauce, and that's it. Like, if you do a taste test. I mean, this is the second time I'm doing this, but I'm so impressed with how it came out that I decided to record it this time around. I'm trying to get the tofu on. There we go. This is delicious. And that's it. See you next time, guys.